Alright. So our user input adapter singleton right here. We don't have any code yet, but since the singleton, I'm going to throw that in my global data object. And I already know that I was going to call it UNADA, right? So UNADA, user input adapter. And we'll write that right there. It actually, we're going to have like a new like that. So remember, this is the Golang kind of style where, well, actually, they would probably write it like this in Golang, but I want to separate that out. So we're going to have, this is a constructor function, and all it does is it kind of shields us from some of the JavaScript specific parts. Well, not JavaScript specific in general, but because C does not have a new keyword, I want to kind of like abstract away this logic. So all this is right, var un oop, nope, like that. And have a new right there. So because C doesn't have like a new keyword, right, I want to wrap it in just a function that calls the new keyword, just to have a little bit of reusability here. And like I said, you shouldn't just encapsulate anything for no reason, right? I have a reason for why I want to encapsulate this. I have a very specific intention of how I want to use this code later. If I didn't want to reuse this code in a non-object oriented language, I wouldn't even consider doing this. Obviously, there's a lot of OOP going around in this, so it's not like even how I've written it. There's a lot of unsalvageable things and things that would have to be reworked. Anyway, so object.seal, and then we'll seal this object. And, well, actually, can you do an object.seal on a class? Well, classes don't really exist, they're just an abstraction. But, you know, when you do the new keyword, I've always thought of the new keyword on a function as like passing around like a closure. And that might not be the right conceptualization of what's actually going on. So this may or may not make sense to do an object.seal on this new class. I guess if anything goes wrong, that seems strange that I'm not used to, I might want to come back to this. So let's just return the user input adapter. And then over here, okay, so we have that there. Let's just make sure everything's still running. Go over here. And no, it's not. What did we screw up here? Unexpected token, so we put a semicolon somewhere that it did not belong. It's not immediately obvious to me where that is. Oh, yeah, of course. So right here, oh, you can't see that? So right here on this line, I had a semicolon right here, so I need to get rid of that. Okay, going back, and just to refresh really quick, that was probably my problem. And there's another problem. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so my error, oh yeah, because it's that error message I made earlier of getting a null canvas object. Well, that just got tripped because there's no canvas. So in our constructor, right, we want to make sure that this canvas object is supplied, and it is not currently. And do we have the canvas in this global constructor stuff? Looking through it really quick, initial canvas width and height is there. So let's look at initial width, see where that's used. Map height, tile map, create tile map. So did I really decide that the canvas itself was going to be like tightly coupled? with the tile map, because that seems kind of stupid. But I think I may have done something like that. So let's go take a look at create tile map and see what we got down here. Fill tile map with test pattern. No, that doesn't look... Okay, well, there's attach canvas to DOM, and that's in the main. So I see some fractionation in my code where, like, main creates this canvas, and this canvas might make sense. Like, all this might make more sense in the global data, because, you know, a lot of times we're going to want to know where that canvas is. Attaching it to the DOM, yeah, a lot of this could go into the global object. Let's see what we got here. So, tile map, global data.tile map. Okay, so this is already accessing the global data. Okay, so in main and global data, how are we initializing that? Are we just calling it, like, right up here? Yeah, so we're calling it right up here, and that... I don't really like that, because... I mean, this is okay in JavaScript, but it's kind of weird to be calling functions outside of any scope. Like if this was like a file scope variable in C and you were like calling a function like that, that would not be allowed. That's weird. And now our code kind of has, as far as I'm concerned, our code right now has two entry points, right? It has this entry point that we need to invoke, right, for that global data. And then down in main, right, this main entry point also needs to be called, right? Like if we don't call init global data and then call main in that order, like our code's going to be broken. And that doesn't seem very friendly, right? Really, it should just be like you call main, right? Main as a main entry point, and then everything works. So this init global data up here is bad idea. We still want this function call. It's just that we don't want it there. We want it inside main. So let's go look for main. And inside of main, right, we already knew that the init global data gets called before main. So we can put that at the top. And then we have this attached canvas to DOM, the canvas adapter. This stuff actually needs to be refactored into the global data object. So we'll go to init global data. And we know that those details are kind of like done afterwards. So let's can attach canvas to DOM, canvas adapter. Let's see what attach canvas to DOM does, because it might we might have some intertwined, we have some intertwined dependencies here, because we have global data dot initial canvas width, initial canvas height, and we don't want to get rid of these dependency loops here that we kind of have coded here. So let's see what other kind of weird dependency loops we might have coded ourselves into here. New canvas adapter class, and it takes a canvas, and I feel like I would have set an initial width and height on this as well. Put image data. It doesn't actually look like width is canvas.width, canvas.height, and it takes a canvas, so new canvas adapter class. Okay, so that just takes the canvas, and that doesn't have any weird so this canvas doesn't need to have any refactoring. That's good. But this attached canvas to DOM, that needs some changing around, right? Because we can't interlace it with this, right? Because that's a dependency loop kind of issue. Is that the only dependency loop issue we got going here? Yeah, I'd say that's the only problem. So what we can do is we can just take off that qualifier there, and then we'll take these two and we'll open up this function, and we'll just take them as inputs, initial canvas width and initial canvas height, like that. And we can make a little note that this is in pixels, or in pixels. Okay, width and height. And then what we'll do is we'll go find the call where we create it. And we already have those initial variables somewhere, right? We have ini width and ini height, and they're defined up here. So we can take ini width and ini height, which stand for initial height and initial width. I really don't like that we have these two different words going on here, right? Because these are basically the same thing, and it's kind of fractionating our code and breaking our, one word per concept rule. Because really, I'd like to keep the shorthand version of it. So since I'd like to keep the shorthand version, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to change this to ini width. And I can keep that in the comment. I can keep this one in the comment. It's just that anywhere I'm actually using it as a variable and looking for the connections in the code, I want to always have the same variable name, right? Okay, so width, height. And we can do the same thing over here. Down here. ini width, ini height. Okay, width and height. Okay, so that's a little bit better, because then if we highlight these guys right here, and we scroll up to that global object, we can instantly see the connection, because we see these variables are also highlighted. Now, if we had it as this name, then only these two things would be highlighted, and we wouldn't immediately see all these connections. We'd have one more step of indirection, mental indirection, and you can only mentally indirect so many times, so we want to minimize how much mental indirection there is in our code. So I eventually want to blast out these long-handed variables, but before I do that, we want to get this code working again. So let's refresh and see if okay, so I'd say my refactoring kinda worked, but I must have screwed something up. So if we look at the console, we'll probably find some type of problem. And yeah, it was the same. I did all that work and then forgot to add the canvas into this constructor here. So let's add the canvas. So I forgot to add the canvas into the constructor right here after I went through all that work of bringing this code in here. So just made that change, and now we'll go over here, we'll refresh, and still something's broken. So let's look at what we got. Still the canvas, huh? Okay, so I believe maybe before when we were calling attach canvas to DOM, even though the function was written like this, I'm gonna guess we probably never did anything with that canvas. No, we must have, because attach canvas to DOM. Okay, hold on. User input adapter. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. So I forgot to forward this input. So we need to take the canvas, and then new, and then the canvas here as well. Okay, so that now that canvas is being forwarded to the new constructor, and then when we use the new keyword, we're going to supply a canvas, And then in here, okay, so now that should work. Let's refresh that. Okay, what else do we screw up? Reference canvas underscore adapter is not defined. So let's go look up that. So do mapping canvas adapter. Okay, because we did the init global data. And so as we're refactoring things, we are, breaking things. But it's better to address these issues now rather than later. So here's our canvas adapter. And that's our user input adapter. So I'm gonna keep with that same shorthand naming convention. So I'm gonna call this can ADA for a canvas adapter. ADA. Okay, and then we want to have this canvas adapter into our global object here. So we'll go over here and then can ADA for a canvas adapter. And we've already called the constructor here. We can fix this around a little bit later, but first we just want to get it working. So there's our canvas adapter. Canada, haha, funny, okay. I'm going to make a little note on my other screen really quick about some variable names that I want to put into my shortcut script, so I can make some strict definitions for them. So I'm just going to take the canvas adapter, this user input guy. I don't think I have anything. Global event, I believe, is already something I've coded up. Yeah, so global event is already recognized by my shortcuts. Maybe this initial canvas width, and okay, these guys also, just some little notes of some things I need to document. Okay, so let's go back. Not here. Okay. So now that we have the canvas adapter, let's go look for that reference to canvas adapter, because it's in the do mapping is where we kind of need to fix that. So right here, well, not here, but here on the call, we need to, we're going to call it can ADA for canvas adapter, and var can ADA equals global data dot can ADA, and then make a little note that that is also known as canvas adapter. So the general idea is, as I'm writing this terse code, I want to always use the same variable everywhere. So, when I double click things, I can see the connections in the code. And if I have any type of synonym, the synonym always needs to be a comment and never a synonym in actual working code. So doing something like this is okay, but if I did it the reverse way, that would be a no-no. So if I did something like var canvas adapter equals global data.can ADA, like that. Oh, sorry. If I did something like this, this would be a no-no. So, because now I got this and this, and we've just created some mental indirection, because now I gotta, if I wanted to highlight all occurrences of this object in the source code, I gotta highlight all occurrences of this token and all occurrences of this token, right? So that's a no-no. So obviously we're gonna have to do some refactoring over here to rename that to this shorthand variable, so that we don't have this mental indirection going on. So anyways, we'll get to that when we'll get to that, but first we need to just get this code working again. So I'm going to hit Control-0 to clear that out. So there's the canvas adapter. Now in the do mapping takes a canvas adapter. It's already checking to see if that canvas adapter is null or not, so that should be good. Let's give it a shot, see if anything is broken still or if it's working now. Okay, cool. So we're back to where we started. Let's do F12. Okay, no errors, so we're good. My timer just went off, so I'm gonna stop recording, and we're gonna do a little bit more cleanup with this canvas adapter thing, since I have these two variables of canvas adapter long-handed and short-handed. We're gonna make it all references to this, and then I'm also gonna document these variable names. I'll do that outside of the recording, or no, I'll keep on recording everything I'm doing, just because this video series is not meant to be concise. It's just meant to show you the uncut process of how I'm doing what I'm doing, and me thinking out loud and explaining to you how I think about things, why I do things the way I do, right? So I'm going to stop recording and record again.